One of the most common questions that I've been getting asked recently is which 5-star champion will I be taking to rank 5 first? And to be totally honest, I'm not so sure yet. I've got a little bit of time before I complete 5.4, and I kind of want to see where all the prestige numbers lie once people, do their initial rank ups. But what I can tell you is that there are a lot of champions that I would not even consider taking to rank 5, and in fact, there's only 9 that I would even take up to rank 5 as of December 2017. I'm sure there's going to be more champions added to this list come 2018, but as of right now, yeah, there's only 9 champions, so I figured it'd be cool to kind of talk about each one of them today just a little bit. So I separated this into 2 tiers. There's, of course, the God tier that people like to put the most powerful champions in, but I feel as of right now, there's kind of a level above God tier in this game. And there's only 3 champions in it, and it's kind of only when all 3 of these champions are combined. So, yeah, this is the Holy Trinity of Marvel Contest of Champions: Blade, Stark, Spidey, and Ghost Rider. Separately, all 3 of these champions are very powerful, but combined, yeah, I definitely feel like they are above God tier at this point. God tier champions are like the Chuck Norris of this game, and these 3, Bruce Lee. If you were playing Duck, Duck, Goose, the God tier champions would be the Ducks, and these, the Gooses. These champions are so strong that it makes the God tier champions look like they belong in Injustice. If you have any of these 3 champions, and you're wondering if you should be popping featured crystals or basics, you might as well just pop basics because every other champion looks like arena fodder compared to these 3. Legend has it that in 12.0, when Scarlet Witch got nerfed, she was so powerful that she could not be killed, and instead her essence was spread across the battle realm. Eventually, that essence collected into 3 separate beings. Now, these champions, of course, are very popular, but let's do a little bit of a breakdown, just a little bit of a reminder, a little refresher as to why I consider them to be so powerful when combined. Blade, the current king of the contest. He has insanely high base attack, and although his base crit rate is only average, he gains a massive 2000 crit rating on his special 2, making those yellow numbers more common than the white ones. With Danger Senses active and the Stark Spidey synergy, he has the highest DPS in the game that does not require any ramp up time and doesn't rely on buffs or debuffs that can sometimes be countered by enemies or nodes. Speaking of nodes, Blade can sometimes turn them off completely. Although I strongly believe that this is unintentional and just a bug, for now at least, I've seen heal block get turned off, and I've heard stories of degeneration and starburst being turned off as well. What is not a bug is that he can shrug off normal debuffs up to 95% faster, allowing you to do fights like Abomination in Labyrinth of Legends that normally requires a poison immune champion. Danger Senses also has a high chance to turn off enemies' abilities as well, both defensive abilities like Evasion and Limbo, and offensive abilities like Unstoppable. Rip the only thing that made Rhino and Juggernaut cool. And this reduction of ability accuracy is automatic, taking no effort, unlike Crossbones where you have to build up Furies, or Quake where you have to hold heavies and to apply concussion, or Archangel that requires the enemy to not be bleed or poison immune, stacking neurotoxins. It's just automatic. But we're not done yet. If the enemy can bleed, you have increased power gain and can use a special attack every 5 hits, sometimes using special 2s back to back. But don't worry, if the enemy is bleed immune, he doesn't rely on bleeds like Gwenpool does, and his damage will still be pretty insane. Oh, and this is all without being awakened. If it's not obvious already, he does not need to be awakened. But when he is, he could even heal too. He can even out-heal the degeneration from Maestro in Labyrinth of Legends if you mistime his special 1 and get blasted by it. Did I mention he even plays nice with Suicide Masteries? Man, I wish I caught on to this monster's power earlier, but I just so happened to be moving across the country when he was released. In my opinion, and the opinion of many others, Blade is the undisputed king of the contest. Stark Spidey. If Blade is king, then young Spidey here is the prince of the contest. Or maybe closer to the royal jester when he's all tumbling around. He has insane burst damage potential with relatively low ramp-up time that once again does not rely on buffs or debuffs, which, like Blade, means he can't easily be countered by enemies or nodes. Poise charges may seem like buffs, but they're actually counted as passives, and therefore are not dispellable like Fury. Spidey's toolkit also includes a bit of utility too, including a 100% stun chance on a special 1 that allows you to fully stunlock certain nodes, He also has a sneaky little power drain on heavy attack that drains quite a bit of power. In fact, it drains more than one full bar of power, allowing you to dismantle nodes that have unblockable special 2s that start with 2 bars of power. And his special 3 can even lower ability accuracy and completely remove enemies' abilities to evade. Speaking of evade, if you mess up and forget to use your heavy attack power drain, no worries, you have a good chance to evade specials automatically. He also has a unique taunting ability that gives one more additional out versus all or nothing nodes. If all this wasn't enough, with the right synergies, he can have infinite parry stunts in Labyrinth of Legends, making intercepting completely unnecessary. Oh, yeah, and he's also the current fastest champion for monthly Legends runs. Spidey is an absolute monster, and definitely a consideration for first rank 5, but due to having less utility, lower prestige, being more of a glass cannon, and generally just being a bit more difficult to play, juggling those poise charges and such, Blade is still the obvious choice between these two in my opinion, if you have them. Ghost Rider. To be perfectly honest, my experience with Ghost Rider is extremely limited. I see others use him and can see the potential, but even if you're a Ghost Rider noob like myself, he can still be useful just for the synergy that he has with Blade, making Blade insanely strong against all villains in the game, regardless of their class type or what abilities they possess. But in some people's opinion, while Blade is the king of Alliance War, Ghost Rider is king of Alliance Quest. Bleed immunity for Caltrops, decent damage when awakened, especially versus villains, a controllable heal, Fate Seal which nullifies, power drain, and he can even heal block. It's no wonder Ghost Rider is top AQ choice for some with the high sustainability and decent all-around utility. Plus, his prestige is among the highest in the game. So altogether, this combination of champions packs 2 that can heal, 2 that have insanely high damage, 2 that have some form of power control, auto evasion, ability accuracy reduction, bleed immunity, and more. With this combination of champions, I feel as though you can tackle nearly any challenge that is currently in the game, and likely for the foreseeable future as well, and do it better than the other champions that currently exist. Not only that, but all 3 of these champions have at least decent prestige, with, I believe, Stark Spidey possibly being the lowest. We still need to know exactly what rank 5 champions look like, but I believe Blade and Ghost Rider are near the top of the list, while Spidey is just kind of that above average range. But yeah, still all 3 of them definitely worthy of going to rank 5. And I can't stress this enough, guys, that while I consider these 3 combined to be above God tier, if you don't have all 3 of these, then they are kind of on par with the next list of champions that I'm about to show you. So the choices become a little bit more interesting if you don't have all 3 of these. But if you do have all 3 of these, or at least if I had all 3 of these, I would definitely rank up Blade first, followed by Stark Spidey, followed by Ghost Rider. Alright, let's move on to the more traditional God tier. And keep in mind, guys, that while I'm calling this the God tier, this is not a tier list. These are, again, just champions that I would consider taking up as my first rank 5 or my first few rank 5s. Alright, so these champions I want to go through just a little bit quicker versus the others, just because we have 6 of them here, and this video would go on forever if I just went on and on about each one of these. Magic is personally my favorite Mystic champion in the entire game, and an absolute monster when it comes to locking down enemies' power. Medusa is an armor-breaking, furious beast that holds swords with her freaking hair. Gwenpool plays as smoothly and fluidly as the blood that'll be gushing from your opponents. She is amazing, and I can't wait to see the rumored synergy that MODOK brings that will actually extend her bleed durations. Iceman might be best known for being the only champion that has triple immunities in this game, being immune to poison, bleed, and incinerate, but he does much more than that. He could also shut down evasion and survive L3s, taking only 5% damage if he has his ice armor active. Archangel. The only things that keep this dude in check are poison and bleed immune enemies, as well as debuff immune nodes. If it wasn't for all of that, then he would be in the above God tier status himself. This dude can deal such a massive amount of damage once he can stack those neurotoxins, as well as eliminating all healing and stopping all abilities in this game, not just defensive ones. Voodoo. This man can be absolutely devastating in the right hands, especially with Mystic Dispersion. You're able to stack up poisons, control power, and even have a little bit of healing for sustainability at the start of fights as well. all-around awesome champion. When it comes to these 6 champions, I don't really have them in any particular order. It kind of depends on what you're looking to do and who you're most comfortable with. But for example, Medusa here is probably the best out of these 6 for taking down Labyrinth of Legends. However, if you already had a good Labyrinth champion, then maybe you'd want to take up Archangel for his ability to take down some of the more difficult fights like Juggernaut. Or maybe you just have a certain node that you need magic for in Alliance for. It really depends on exactly what you need and how it best fits your roster. If I had my choice out of these, I don't even know what I would do personally. I definitely want all 6 of these at rank 5 at some point, I know that much. The only thing is I kind of suck with Voodoo still, so maybe I can cross him off the list, but definitely these other 5 for me. Alright, so there are 3 other champions here that I did not include, and these are champions that I absolutely would not consider ranking up, but I feel like people might mention them, so let's talk about them anyway. So Thor Ragnarok here, this is not actually Thor Ragnarok, this is just representing a very high prestige champion. I don't know for sure, but it seems like Thor Ragnarok might have the highest prestige in the game as a 5-star rank 5 champion. I believe he does as a rank 4 champion at the moment, but we need to see more information about all the champions. But if you are desperate for prestige, if you're one of these alliances that's looking to hit the highest ranks, or maybe you're just trying to get into a better alliance, then sometimes you have to make sacrifices and rank up for prestige. So yeah, it's just a representation of prestige, right? Whatever champion's the highest. The problem with ranking a champion just for prestige, though, is that Thor Ragnarok, I don't really know where he can be used in this game effectively, versus a champion like Blade, who also has high prestige and can absolutely be devastating in Alliance War. Probably the best Alliance War attacker in the game right now, just due to the way that Alliance War is so, Mystic focused at the moment. And you're able to shut down a lot of those Mystic champions with Blade. So if you bring in a champion that can also be good in Alliance War, and it's not just Blade, right? There's other champions as well. But if you bring in a champion that has just a little bit less prestige, but can be devastating Alliance War, that might be better for your alliance. So it's very dependent on what you and your alliance are looking for, really. All right, let's talk a little bit about Quake. Now, Quake, she doesn't make the top list for me personally, but I have her here because in the right hands, she could do some amazing things. And I could certainly see somebody maybe not taking Quake up as their first rank 5, but maybe one of their first few rank 5s, especially if you are able to use Quake to her fullest in Alliance War. I've had some pretty good success myself taking down Magics, and I'm sure, somebody who is more proficient with the champion can do even better than I can. So I have her listed here. On top of all that, she does have very high prestige. And she is like the only science champion that I would even remotely consider taking up to rank 5 at the moment. But again, she doesn't even make my list. Maybe one of these new science champions are released, because we do have a bunch that are right around the corner. Maybe those will be included. But yeah, as of now, she's just kind of in this this third tier that I really wouldn't consider. Star-Lord. What more needs to be said about one of the oldest champions in this game that the community does not already know? He's an absolute beast with near infinite scaling attack power as long as you're able to hold a combo, but he has 2 major downsides as to why he's not a consideration for me personally to go to rank 5. Number 1, his prestige is absolute trash. Is one of the worst at 455 in the game, and I have to believe that at 565 he's also going to be one of the worst. In fact, we've already seen examples of a signature 200 Star-Lord that I believe is not even above 9,000 prestige. Meanwhile, some of these champions that were listed above are over 10,000. That's a pretty big difference. And if you're at the point in the game where you're taking a 5-star champion up to rank 5, then I have to believe that prestige is at least somewhat of a consideration for you. The other big downside about Star-Lord is that as the relative power of all champions rises versus the content that we have available, you don't really need to these fights are shorter, right? You don't need to hold a 300 hit combo in order to bring down these enemies. Even in Labyrinth of Legends, where Star-Lord shines, and he's probably still the best champion overall, he gets outdone by some of these champions. For example, Red Hulk. If I had Blade and Star-Lord, I wish I could show you, but I am 99% sure that Red Hulk can be taken down faster with a Blade versus a Star-Lord. Yeah, on the fights that are, 3.3 million HP, Star-Lord, he's still going to come out on top pretty much every time. But against these enemies that only have like 1.5 million HP, he's not even the best. He's not even the best. So yeah, it's Star-Lord, he loses some of his shine. And Labyrinth of Legends, that's really the only part of the game where he's the best. And I'm not saying he's useless elsewhere, right? I'm just saying that the other champions, I feel like they are better in these areas of the game where there's like less than 1 million HP on the enemies, right? Anything less than 1 million, you can bet that these other champions can dish out more damage while also probably packing a bit of utility as well. So yeah, Star-Lord, he's out for me. All right, actually, there's one reason as to why I would consider taking Star-Lord here to rank 5, and that's if I was going to farm Labyrinth of Legends over and over again every single day, even after completing it 100% to get a signature stone to feed into my other champions. I mean, having a rank 5 Star-Lord, I have to believe they'd be able to get through there pretty quickly. I mean, it'd still take you, a few hours to get through, but maybe if you can do this, if you can stand to do this every single day and farm up these signature stones, feeding them into your other champions, getting all of your other higher prestige champions up to signature 200, maybe it'd be worth the, kind of offsetting the prestige with a low prestige champion like Star-Lord here. Just kind of a crazy idea. It's not something that I would personally do, but, I guess it's a consideration. But guys, that is going to do it for this one. I just want to remind everybody that these are only my own personal opinions on who I would rank 5 first, or one of my first few options. This is not meant to be a tier list, right? So if you're mad that I put Star-Lord there, well, I don't know what to tell you. Be mad, I guess. And also, it's just my own opinions and a little bit of advice on what I would do with my own account, though mostly. If it's your own account. If you want to rank up Kamala Khan or She-Hulk or whoever, I don't care, man. Rank up whoever you want. But this is personally what I'll be doing. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.